It's,
No, out of
uh,
curiosity, was your like family there with you, or was it just you and maybe your little brother? Like,
no, it was basically just me. So I don't really have much of a family life. My dad left when I was real young, and then my mom kind of just she kind of lived in her own little world. So like, because I've been out on my own since I was 14.
oh wow,
Yeah, like like I said, it just was really not a good dynamic. So at 14, that's the summer of my 14th year, going on 15, because I'm a September baby. Uh, she said, "You got to go." So I went. Like it wasn't even like a fight. It was just one of those things where she was done. I was like, "All right, man, cool, whatever. I'll figure it out." And so spent a lot of time on friends' couches, couple nights, at the park or whatever. Uh, but like I was always there when that show was running. Like 11 a.m. didn't matter. I'd find a way to be there.
that's kind of the
Uh,
beauty of wrestling, though, right? Like in a way, pro wrestling at times is kind of like the land of misfit toys, where
oh
you have people from all different angles and all different corners who they
yes,
might
yeah,
never meet, but there's something pulls them together, and
yes, no, and that's one of my favorite things. You just Some of my closest friends in wrestling. In any other setting, I would never say a single word with these people. But we have that one common bond, and through that bond, like this friendship has grown where now they're irreplaceable parts of my life. Uh, and it's because pro wrestling. Like I'm a big, and especially now that I'm older too. I think it's just so cool. Like spending time in the locker room and just finding out other people's stories. Like, how'd you get here? What's your background? It's crazy to me, the different dynamics, the different lives everybody's led, that has all led them to one spot. I just think it's super cool that it's a lot of times I'll say, well, that's only pro wrestling. Only pro wrestling could this happen. And that's just my story. Like everybody's story is different, but I'll forever be grateful to pro wrestling, because that's what got me through. Like I'm usually a pretty positive guy anyways, but like uh even as a kid, like I've never drank alcohol in my life. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never done a drug. uh, because pro wrestling. I was
mm.
just like, obviously I was way wrong, but I was like, pro wrestlers don't do that. They're athletes.
Oh yeah, you were in for a rude awakening on that one.
Yeah, I was. Imagine the shock, right? But I just, but like those are kind of just been the morals that I've lived my life by, and I tell everybody like they love to have me around because I'm a DD, right? Like I don't expect anybody to live the insane uh, life I've lived. Like, if you want to drink, please go drink. Good news is I'm here so I can make sure you get back to the hotel safe. Uh, or whatever your vice is, right? My vice just happens to be pro wrestling.
And that's a great vice to have. I mean, it comes with its drawbacks too, but the beauty of pro
Yeah.
wrestling is just, I mean, there's so many beautiful aspects of it, and that's kind of what this whole channel is going to be about, is sharing people's stories, keeping people's legacies alive, but also just kind of reveling it, because there's a lot of negativity, especially in wrestling
Yes.
media, and
Yes.
it's hard to avoid. It's not just wrestling, it's life. You're going to find it everywhere, but like for a lot of us, pro wrestling has been our life one way or another,
Yes.
just as you were talking about. And it, like, also another point you made, it's like a melting pot. People of all different cultures and races and orientations and upbringings, like everything. So many people from all walks of life gravitate towards it. It's not one demographic.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've learned this through my life. Even the people that turn their nose up at wrestling always have the, well, I remember one time story, right? So
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
oh, you do pro wrestling? That's ridiculous. well, I remember when I was a kid, blah 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 blah. It's just like, well, why is this ridiculous? If you've got stories, like it's okay to just like stuff. You're not gonna get like I'm not gonna get mad at you for just liking stuff. It doesn't have to be your passion like it is mine. You can just say, oh, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be your everything. It's wild, but like everybody has some kind of pro wrestling story.
Mhm.
It's kind of just woven into the fabric of the nation now, where again, it's not everybody's as insane as me and has gone back and watched every episode of prime time that they could get their hands on, or studied Dusty's run in '85 to get to the Hard Times promo. I get that. That's cool. But like everybody's got that Dusty Rhodes story, or that Randy Savage story, or whomever it may be. And that's part of the magic of pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's the funny thing too is I've always encountered this thing where someone will find out about wrestling, and at first they're kind of almost standoffish about it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, but I can't believe this guy's the champion." Like when the Miz was champion, I got that a couple from two
It,
different people. They were like, "Oh, I haven't
yes.
watched that, but Miz is champion now. Huh? I can't believe what he did Monday." It's like you just said you haven't watched it since you were a kid.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's always that way, but it's okay. Like that's like I don't know why it's everybody's dirty little secret, but I'm just the one that's not ashamed of it, and happy just happy to be associated with it in any like there's still that part of me that gets those butterflies in my stomach that like I can't believe if you would have told 13-year-old me like this is the career you're going to have. I would have, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed it. I'm a lucky, lucky dude.